In this video, I'm going to show you 10 robots which will give you a glimpse into the future. And each one is going to be even more wild than the one before.
The Alfie Whattam podcast.
Starting at number 10, we have a machine which can literally replace coffee baristas.
Robotic coffee bar. So there's working versions of this in San Francisco and Dubai. It's backed by top VCs like David Sachs, Chamath and JCal, who are on the All-In pod. They're great. It's not terrible coffee as well, because it's not like from those like vending machines where you press a button, because the robot is doing it. It's like a human doing it, so it's good quality.
Yeah, I love the idea. I think perhaps being a bit of a geek, I don't always enjoy speaking to people. I don't know, maybe I took the don't talk to strangers too seriously as a child, and that's carried on.
Sure.
So interacting with a machine that gives me a great drink. I love the idea of 24/7 operate with a machine. I really enjoy ordering off an app rather than ringing someone, interacting with something like that in an airport down the street. I'd definitely use that.
The thing that bothered me the most, when it had the coffee in its hand, or the robotic hand, and it was shaking it, and I thought it's going to come out in a minute. I guess what we're trying to do is, if this comes in, then having a barista is going to be a premium product. This will very quickly go to the middle layer, and that people will be looking for human interaction to get something which is a little bit more personal.
I mean, from the emotional perspective, yes. But what if the robot barista can make coffee better than a human? Because it doesn't make mistakes, it doesn't show up late, it doesn't take annual leave, it doesn't get sick. It's just 24/7. Just here's your latte, here's your flat white, here's your iced mocha. Here's your strawberry and cream frappuccino, whatever you order. I don't know what you order.
Next up, at number 9, we have robotic arms which can connect to a human.
These are robot arms, basically. I don't really know how else to describe it, but they connect to a person, and the idea is you'll be able to control them using your thoughts. Right now, you have to use like a controller, so it's not quite as exciting. But when you link in Neuralink and you have like a brain chip, which can, you can already get a prosthetic arm if you're like a soldier and you're wounded.
Yeah, it was quite creepy. I don't really. What's the use case of that?
I guess you'll be able to do more. You'll be able to do the washing up with one arm, and whilst you're typing on the other arms, whilst you're, making dinner with the other arm.
But if we have the ability to create arms that you can control, why would you not just create a robot that can do the task for you?
Exactly.
Maybe it's easier to create the arms, but how are you able to control them so well? I guess that's.
This is the technology that most excited me, actually. And what I was actually thinking about that is whether it was attached to the body or not attached to the body. It means that you can, in your brain, be able to get, with robots, get a lot more done. That's where I see the future.
This is like going a little bit beyond that and going, hey, you don't need to have your limb missing. We can just attach, extra arms to you. Yeah, and he has like multiple extra arms. But like an interesting one.
At number 8, we have breaking news that surgeons are starting to be replaced by machines.
The Sky News was invited to see a robotic arm assist with a full knee replacement at Walsall Manor Hospital. This is the first time that this type of technology has been used at an NHS District General Hospital, and the surgery was a complete success.
I just think it's amazingly exciting. So reading on the market, it's a very growing market. There were over 1.7 million operations done using robotic automation, mainly in States. I see lots of pluses. There's still worries and concerns, but yeah, definitely exciting.
It's very exciting space right now, being able to use robots and performing surgery and so on, and it's anything with automation does make things or should make things a bit more reliable, safer.
Well, I have 2 questions. First of all, what are the ethical implications if the robot surgeon accidentally or not accidentally kills a patient?
Yeah.
Which might happen.
It will happen, probably.
It will happen. Yeah. So what are the implications? Who's responsible? Yeah. I don't know. And the second one, how well tested the code is for that thing. Because, it's a complicated piece of machinery with a lot of moving bits and a lot of code, potentially. How well tested is it? How secure is it? Is it possible to hack into the network and control it remotely, as people did with planes, for example?
Sure.
You can be on a plane, you can hack on a plane and do the thing with wings.
Yeah.
So these are my 2 kind of concerns about this.
Coming in at number 7, we have a robot dog with an actual flamethrower attached to its back.
Robot dog flamethrower machine. It's the first ever flamethrower wielding robot dog. Some people are saying this could be useful for like warfare, maybe even like crop management, you know, like forest management. But others are saying this could be really dangerous in the wrong hands, obviously. You know, you can't be buying this from Walmart or Tesco.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a bit crazy. To be honest, currently I'm thinking about some, 10-year-old kids who would probably be up for buying it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't really allow them to do that because they can cause a lot of harm and a lot of problems. So, to be honest, I don't really see the market, the audience, who is going to be, who they are targeting.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You think about history of armament and defense investment leading to various things. Sure. We have, the internet came out of DARPA. This is a DARPA project or whatever, Boston Dynamics. That kind of robots and automation and robots that have recognizable modes. I think the biggest thing about that is, a lot of robotics previously is you sort of need to change the environment to allow the robot to exist in it, which is often an environment that humans have to live in. So anything that we can do to mean that actually the robots are adapting to the way that we want to exist in the world, I think is a really good thing. So yeah, I hope this succeeds, and I really hope it's giving out ice cream.
Next up at number 6, we have Amazon's new home robot assistant.
There it is, rocking around. It's got the wheels, has a big iPad on the front. It's got a camera, so you can check if your oven's off if you're at home. You can keep an eye on pets, on burglaries. There's a kid talking to it, so it's good for. It must be able to track your face and follow you around. If your kids want to do video calls and that sort of thing. It charges itself, which is pretty cool.
It looks more like a gimmick to me than a real useful product. I mean, they use the example of, okay, I'll send the robot with the camera. It will lift the camera and show me if I left the oven on. Yeah. I think a much more realistic, cheap, and useful solution would be just create an oven that is connected you can with an app and just check, and you can activate it, deactivate it, lower, increase the temperature, whatever, with the app if you wanted to. And then this thing about bringing the beer, etc. Yeah, it's a cool gimmick.
I can find like some use cases when it comes to accessibility, like people with some disabilities as well. That it could be really useful in that sense, but I don't see it's a killer product or killer feature. Also, I think from the ethical point of view, a lot of people start questioning the presence, the digital presence in our home, like the smart homes and the smart devices, and how much they really, in a way, listen to how and recognize our behavior. So there might be some pushback as well.
I think this Astro is missing hands. Like give it some thumbs and some grip, and then it can actually do robotic things. When you think of a robot, you want it to be doing things physically for you, not just a little camera on a stick, kind of like checking the oven, which is not really going to be an actual thing, right?
We are now halfway through this list, so if you're still watching, then make sure you click the subscribe button below. At number 5, we have a futuristic update to our favourite robotic dog.
The robot dog called Spot from Boston Dynamics can now independently open doors. So in the past, you had to manually control it for this task. I've actually tried it myself. It's like a Nintendo Switch device that you hold when you press on buttons and stuff. But due to advanced machine learning, it can now move around warehouses or factories or retail stores or whatever without the need for constant human supervision.
Yeah, I think it's generally quite an impressive upgrade. I think the process of opening a door is quite challenging, and being able to do that purely from AI is very impressive.
I think it's a big progress in terms of robotics. I also think that it opens up a lot of user cases which were not available beforehand, like going into buildings, opening doors, helping patients in a hospital, transporting food to some people who are not capable of moving, all of that sort of stuff. So if we want to use the robots as a sort of, not a replacement, but as a help.
When I see that specifically, I think very much like you said, I think widening consumer use cases and the potential for adoption in a sort of wider market is probably the initial thing that springs to mind. Although, fundamentally, I still think that the biggest value add that you're going to get with a lot of these things is probably niche use cases, like as you said, hospitals and construction work and inventory management in factories and all these things. I think we shouldn't understate actually the huge utility we get from those spaces. Outside of that, it is still a little bit scary, the advancement that we've been able to make in the advanced robotics space, I think.
Yeah. What about the jobs side? Because if this works, obviously this will replace millions of jobs globally, in all types of areas. We're already seeing it with Amazon warehouses, for example, but other aspects of the world will be automated and replaced by machines. Obviously, it will create jobs for developers, for data experts, designers, but it will probably replace more jobs, certainly initially, than it will create.
Coming in at number 4, we have news that San Francisco have now approved the use of human killer robots.
So police in San Francisco can now use lethal robots on suspects in emergency situations. This decision comes after the mayor previously decided to defund the police budget by 120 million. So they're basically swapping police officers out there for robots.
I think, firstly, I'd be keen to understand a bit more about kind of what that was all about, because the idea of killer robots is... So it's firstly a bit generic, like, how exactly does that work? Like, are they still being controlled by humans, or do they have like full autonomy? If they have full autonomy, that's a completely different discussion, right? That's like, can we trust them?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd be very hesitant, and I expect most people would be, maybe not in San Fran, because obviously, very different place.
I think it's funny because I think people probably look at the image of this humanoid robot with holding these machine guns, and immediately get scared, which I think is probably warranted, because it sort of seems like something out of a film.
I think big organizations and corporate companies and police departments, they must be using the artificial intelligence and robots since decade,
of course,
of different variations. But I think this is to the next level.
This could have a use case in military, in warfare, in save human lives. I mean, we are looking at this from a realistic but also a pessimistic point of view. What about the upside? What if the tech's perfect, which never is the case, but let's say it was? Could that then save police officers' lives? Could that, make more calculated, better decisions on whether to take somebody down or not? Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. But interesting clip, regardless.
Next up, at number 3, we now have self-driving robo-taxi cars.
So essentially, over the past couple of years, Zoox have been testing their self-driving cars on many roads, bumpy roads, rainy roads, snowy roads, cold, dirt, private, wet, you name it, they've been testing it. And they've been developing this machine learning, this AI, getting them better and better. And now finally, the state of California has granted them permission and the approval to go on the public roads. So in California, you can hail, I imagine via an app, a self-driving car built for riders, not for drivers. It looks like something from the future. You can pop inside this thing and you can, I would say drive, but no, you can be driven using AI to your destination.
I thought it was a car company, but actually, as you mentioned, it's an AI company, right? How many other technologies did they have to develop to make that possible? What I'm seeing here is they probably have environmental sensors, hazard detection, all that type of technology that can even be repurposed to something else. So they are really into those extra benefits. This seems like just the first application of what they have built in there.
Yeah.
So of course it's great. I'd love to try that out.
I'm very impressed, as Lorenzo said, about the technology, what is behind. And I can understand also, I was living 10 years in Los Angeles, why they're doing this in California, because in rush hour you don't want to be at the steer of your car. So if the car is not speeding, like going 5 miles per hour in the traffic, better to let the car drive.
I think it's fantastic. The one thing that did strike me, which I sort of had a right grin to myself, was I can't imagine the amount of testing that took place.
Oh, of course. There had to be.
Can you imagine?
It got approved, right? So I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I know from having to get large scale applications in place, the level of testing I've had to go through over the years. So the level of testing must be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Technically, both the guys are right. It must be some very special tech they've got out there.
based on what you saw, would you feel safe getting into this? If you have kids, would you feel safe putting your kids on a self-driving car and letting them go?
Yes, I would feel safe. Yeah.
Okay.
For myself, yes. For my family, not yet.
Okay. It's a little bit more testing.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think yes, the answer.
Yeah. I mean, if it's safer than human error, this could save millions of lives.
At number 2, we have robotic arms, which are able to replace missing limbs on human bodies.
This is a lady attaching a robotic arm to herself, which can be controlled through her thoughts. She thinks open hand, she thinks closed finger, she thinks open the pinky, and it does that as a result. All you have to do is think, and it operates the same way that a human hand would. She can grab grapes, she can do all different types of tasks that a regularly person with two arms would be able to do. Obviously, this is just one example on the arm, but when you have legs, when you have eyes, hearts, etc., etc. Push-up needs some work, but that's okay. And typing as well, obviously, the most important task of the century.
I'm impressed. I think the main thing that stands out is the fine motor skills that they've managed to get. It's like the fact that they can sort of pick up like an individual jelly bean or grape, whatever it was on the video.
Yeah,
it's just quite impressive. Obviously I haven't looked into it. I'd be quite keen to understand how they managed to
sort
of do that, because you say it's managed by the thought. I'm assuming it's related to sensing the movements like tendons or something in the arm.
Yeah, the electromagnetic tendons, all of that.
But it's very impressive. I think it's going to be a game changer for people who've obviously missing limbs and stuff. And
yes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very interesting. Obviously, there's been a lot in the robotics scene in the past few years, and to be able to produce something like this, which is going to be a big enabler for a lot of people, being able to achieve more or do more in their everyday life that maybe they struggled with a bit before. I think it's definitely going to be life-changing, and I really look forward to seeing where something like this goes and how it can help people.
It's amazing to see what technology, how it's enabling people and being used for good. I hope it's used and governed correctly.
But where I see this going is, if this keeps getting better and better and better, eventually you're going to want to have them, because you're going to have an arm which can reach across the room and grab a glass of water. You're going to have legs where you can run 50 miles per hour and jump over huge, heights, and you're going to have eyes where you can zoom in and live stream what you're seeing, and then hearts, and obviously these are very complex problems which are going to be worked on a step at a time.
Now, before we reveal our winner, let me tell you about this video's sponsor. If you're looking to hire software engineers in the UK, then you need to check out my company, Alpha Recruitment. We can find you the top 1% of software developers who are searching for new opportunities. Just go to welovealpha.com now. The link will be in the description. And finally, at number 1, we have advanced androids, which can replace the need for construction workers. Check it out.
So this shows a construction worker doing some work in a building, and then you have Atlas, one of their signature robots. Look at the chap right there, moving around, jogging up and down. So they've added some innovations to Atlas, to Boston Dynamics, to the world of robots, in the respect that they're now programmed to help with construction work. So we're starting to see the theoretical robots starting to have practical use cases which could benefit the world and humanity, and also potentially not benefit, because it will take jobs and all other things which we'll talk about. There it is, throwing some equipment up, pushing down, and then jumping down. My favourite moment of the clip, Kobe, front flip. Very, 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 very cool. There it is, nailed it.
Obviously, that robot is amazing. Even if it's just scripted, it's amazing. And
sure.
if you think about the applications to firefighting and things like that, where we don't want to put lives at risk, and we need a bipedal thing with hands to traverse spaces that are normal for humans, but now they are dangerous. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's also terrifying if you give it guns.
Maybe it's a good thing that we will have robots fighting each other rather than people fighting each other.
Perhaps,
in some sense.
yeah.
Perhaps that will bring to a more fair or more quick victories, or whenever that is applied.
Sure.
On your point on replacing human work, I don't think I saw that in the video yet. And let me explain. we saw a robot doing the job of one man, but I'm pretty sure it takes many people to build that single robot. So I would see this being applied where lives are at risk or in very specialized type of work. Even in that case, we need way more people to build and maintain this fleet of robots than just replacing the work of other people.
I think it's really, really great. I think, funnily enough, where my brain goes on that is like the reliability of construction. You know, there's such demands on the construction industry that there aren't enough people there. I don't know if you've done any kind of loft conversions or anything like lately, and you're like, are they going to turn up today?
Yep.
When are they going to finish? So in that sense, you are in that kind of programmatic sense that, you know, you've got reliability from machinery. I think there's always going to maybe be elements of quality. You know, you're still going to need things like structural engineers to do calculations and load bearing and things like that. So you've still got that architectural element and structural engineer. But I think it's a great advancement.
This tech has the potential to make the rich even richer and the poor even poorer. And you have a great example of that with like Neuralink, for example, because if that worked, the people that were able to buy that would be wealthy to begin with, because that would cost a lot of money, and those people would have such an advantage over everybody else in the world because of the access to instant information that they would have. They would have like Google and ChatGPT in their mind, which would be a thing for rich people.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.